Good afternoon and welcome to Gulfstream today. Brian Nadeau with you on a mid-afternoon card as we kick off a three-day racing week, and this will be the norm with you going forward. Taking a look at that fast main track, we've got the Tapeta as well. Obviously, it's a beautiful day here in Hollandale Beach. Stop on out. It's a great, solid 10-race card. Looking forward, again, that three-day race week that we're going to kick off, and this will kind of be the norm going forward a little bit. We'll be joining you on Fridays for the foreseeable future at 2:55 p.m. first post. So we've got the Twilight card in action, and then Saturday and Sundays 12:30 is most likely going to be the norm. 12-race card tomorrow, 12-race card on Sunday as well. A couple stakes tomorrow too. Came up really, really good. A strong 12-race card tomorrow, but we get it going here today. Again, 10-race card here on this Twilight Friday. 2:55 is the first post, and in that opener, I should mention as well, we're going to have $50,000 in that gross jackpot Rainbow Six guarantee as we paid it out on Sunday. If you were fortunate enough to get it, I believe $62,000 was your payoff. A very, very healthy pool and payoff. So if you got in on that, congratulations. That would get me out of a little hole after a rough weekend. So we'll see how we kick it off today. But as I mentioned, the opener here at 2:55 will kick off the early pick 5 as well. And we'll take a look at my ticket. It's a $24 play in this early pick 5. 5-6 is the order in the opener. We'll get to it. Race number 2, the 2-year-olds in action. And I think that, trust me, is in a good spot. Second time out for Dave Fox. The old all ball in race 3, a very deep and competitive 6-pack. So I'll use them all. Hope for a little bit of value in there. 58 in race 4, Lord Darnley on top. And then the order is 2-5, Campiador and Star Weaver just come out of the Malra race, and we'll take a look at that replay coming up as well. I'll use them both in order. $24 early play in this pick 5, and it starts at 2:55 on the Tapeta. These are 3-year-old fillies or 4-year-olds and up, which have never won 3. The tag is 20,000. We go a mile and 70 on the Tapeta, and Divine Exchange is in a pretty good spot here, I think, for Jose D'Angelo, who is come back guns blazing again, and she's got proven form both on the turf and on the Tapeta. I look at the Tapeta race 2 back when she was just necked out in second. It was a very, very strong run. Junior Alvarado gets aboard today as well. Junior's back with us now, and he's going to start climbing back up the jockey standings as well. And I just think Divine Exchange is in a good spot here. Might need a little bit of pace help, but there really isn't a lot of speed in this race, and I think that probably probably bunches the field up a little bit, and I think that's going to help her as well. Jazzy T in second, ran very, very well off the claim last time for Emmy Gaffney, and was a good close third that day in a good race. I thought she had a little, not trouble, but I thought she ran well with a lack of race flow help. You can see that she closed from 7th that day, was beaten just to 3/4 of a length, and they went slow early. The winner was close throughout. The leader finished second. She had to come from 7th. So I thought it was a pretty good kind of under-the-radar kind of effort. Jaramillo's been aboard the last 2, and maybe he puts her a little closer today. You see the Tapeta race 2 back. That was a very, very strong effort. It was a winning effort as well. 4 for 5 in the exacta over the Tapeta down inside the 2-ball. Lightning is in the mix. I think she's probably going to be hopefully closer today. She was wide the entire way. She can save a little ground today. That would be beneficial. She's unproven on the Tapeta, but she does have good turf form. And then the 8, Crystal Coast, probably is the speed in here. And if Sammy Camacho Jr. takes the initiative and puts her on the engine, that could flatter her chances because, as I mentioned, I don't see a lot of pace in here. It'll be interesting to see how it shakes up. But 5-6 for me in the opener, and that's my early pick 5 play as well. The 2-year-olds go, as I mentioned earlier, in race 2. We go 5.5 on the main track, a fast main track here today, and a group of 9 2-year-old fillies. And we'll lead it off with the 9, Trust Me, who I've singled. Let's first take a look at the trainer stat I pulled up for Dave Fox, second-time starters here, and it's a pretty strong one, 11 for 35. So he's 31% with a big 290 ROI, 2-year-old. Second-time starters right here the past 3 years. So we got the tightener out of the way on debut, a very, very good second at even money, a homebred here for the Levelongs. And let's check out that debut, too, because I thought it was a pretty strong effort. Ronnie pulled up the replays today, and I thought Trust Me ran very, very well. Here we are down inside. Links, for whatever reason, wasn't bet that day for Arundel. in Carlos David, and she's going to gut it out and reel in Trust Me Lay. But I thought this was a very, very polished effort. She dueled early, kicked clear, and then just got run down by a filly who I think has a right to be a really nice runner. And Trust Me, as you see there, well clear of third. I like the outside attack post here today. She already showed speed. I think she's in a really good spot. I'm just going to quick peek at the double Will plays. And right now, I don't think it's any surprise. She's an overwhelming favorite, at least from what I see with just a couple of them that I've taken a look at here. You know, this is an important race to gauge the board as well, to see who's live in taking money, because obviously we know we've got an experienced runner that is going to be a favorite in here. So anybody else that's taking money, I think that's a positive sign. I'll go next to the 7, Infinite Diamond, a firster for Patrick Biancone. Not a lot of pedigree here. The dam was unraced. This was her first foal. But boy, a couple of these works are really, really snappy. You see the bullets at Palm Meadows, and that 4 furlong move and 46 in flat on May 15th says, you know, this gal can run a little bit. They paid $120,000, you know, as a 2-year-old. So, you know, that's beneficial too. I often think that these kind of horses might have a leg up on the competition, you know, a little bit. Maybe that's the case here. Now, this is a barn that isn't necessarily known to crank him up at first asking, but he did pop with a firster earlier in the Royal Palm meet. 2 for 19 with first-time starters, so it's not a huge sample, but obviously the barn can get the job done, and, you know, those bullets certainly speak. We'll tab the tote here. Again, looking, it's early in the doubles, but she seems to be live and taking some money. That's Infinite Diamond. Tab the tote. Give her a look in the paddock as well. Ashley will be with me for race 2. Maybe she can have some insight there as well. The 8 is Jinrin, firster for Jorge Delgado. Not a lot of pedigree here. The dam was 2 for 7, so that's a positive. The 5th foal out of the dam, you know, the other 4 really weren't runners, and it took the 5th, 10th, and 11th start for 3 of them to break their maiden, so maybe we need a little bit here. A daughter of the big beast, Chantel, is here. That's a good sign. They team up. They're 22, 23% together. The barn, 26% first-time starters, 33% with 2-year-olds. So this is a big move for the barn. We'll just see what we get. Jinrin comes with plenty of works on display. The last one, certainly on June 10th, seemingly picked it up a little bit, so take note there. And then the 5, Luna Tuna, another of the experienced runners. There are 3 of them in here, and you've heard Ron and I talk about it a lot. You know, if you have experience, it's a big angle here in these kind of races. Luna Tuna was a distant second on debut to Nick Stile, was well clear of third for Kathy Ritvo. Took a little bit of money that day. The dam was 3 for 21. This is her first foal. She chased and tired a little bit, but held nicely to be second. The winner was just too good, so food for thought there. 9, 7, 8, 5 for me in race 2. On to race 3 here. We're back on the Tapeta here. These are starter optional claimers. The tag is 32, excuse me. These are 4-year-olds and up here. So the veterans go a snappy 5. And I go with Kasim in here for Carlos David and Miguel Vasquez. The barn has really picked it up here at the Royal Palm meet. And, you know, I think this one's in a good spot. We've got a stat to look at, too, for Carlos David on the Tapeta. 5, not a huge one, but 5 for 16, a big 226 RI. Tapeta sprints here at Gulfstream. Obviously, that's since we got going on the Tapeta. So, you know, it's not a huge stat, but it's a pretty solid one for a barn that, you know, typically does everything in the teens. Well, this one amps it up a little bit, 31%. And Kasim's run well against much, much better. Unprecedented was a Tapeta freak over the during the championship meet, and he would just go out and blast the field, and he would never come back. So, you know, I think getting out of that one shadow, Kasim's going to like getting back to the Tapeta. He was in starter 25s then, too, and, you know, he didn't disgrace himself at all. A good 4th 3-back. The 7th 2-back wasn't that great, but again, unprecedented is so good on this surface. So I think Kasim has got a chance in here. I want to mention next the 5, Uncle B. I've got him a little further down, but Ronnie pulled up a replay here, and I think it's a pretty solid one as well. I've got him in 4th. We'll take a look at it here. This is the stakes, Uncle B and Where's Joey here on the outside, and he's kind of dueling a little bit in there, you know, and I thought he held pretty well to be 3rd in this spot. That was a very, very, excuse me, very salty effort and salty group that day. No disrespect at all. I mean, where's Joey? He's been in such good form. I believe this was 4 in a row for him, and he just gets nipped Uncle B for second there nearing the line. I thought that was a pretty good effort to duel throughout and then just come off of it a little bit late. So he's certainly in the mix. I had him further down. One of the reasons I had him further down was that there's just a lot of speed. There's speed to his inside with the 4 Beatrice, and certainly Forest Survivor to his outside is going to roll as well. I put Forest Survivor in second for Rohan. I think there's no doubt that his Tapeta races are much better than that turf sprint last time behind Biarritz, who's back in here today. And I like the fact that Forest Survivor is outside. This is the race, as I mentioned, that I used the all ball here. I didn't have a strong feel for this race. Forest Survivor at 3-1 is a little bit of an underlay to me with all the speed signed on. It's another reason why I went Kassim down inside. But I do like the fact he's drawn outside the other speed. Certainly Biarritz is in the mix as well. He's never run on the Tapeta, though, so, tread a little bit lightly there. Yes, he's got the good turf sprint form, but, he's a little bit of an unknown on Tapeta. I know if you handle the turf, theoretically, we'd like to think you're going to handle the Tapeta, but the fact that he's an unknown and he's probably going to take all the worst of it, sussing out as the inside speed, I think as well. I put him a little further down in my mix, and then I mentioned Uncle B as well, certainly off that Tapeta race that we brought up and showed you there. He's a major player in there. 2, 6, 4, 5 in the third to me. We'll go on to race 4 here. These are back. We're back on the main track. These are 3-year-olds or 4 and up, which have never won 2. The tag 6,250. We sprint 5.5 on the main track. Take out the 3 Calculated Breeze, and that was my top pick. So I'm going to scratch in now to the 5, Lord Darnley. Didn't, regressed a little bit last time, and I think probably what happened was he paid the price for that big second 2 back. Now, we're 1 for 23 with 9 underneath finishes. So I understand we've got a little MO here. We're not too interested in winning a horse race. But if you look at Lord Darnley's form of late, he's got the I don't want to call it bad race, but he's got a fast race followed by a slow race, followed by a fast race, followed by a slow race. To me, maybe he rebounds, bounces back up to the fast race today. The run 2 back and the run 4 back were very strong efforts. The last time in 3 back, not really as much. So maybe he cycles back to another big effort today. And yes, I know we're 1 for 23, but again, I lose my top pick in here. I move up Lord Darnley. It's a little bit of a spread race as well. I put him on top. Geoscience, certainly. Now, we've got to mention Efron Loza, who's back now. He kind of was off the radar a little bit, but he's back, and he's sending out live horses. I know you see just 2 for 4 at the meet and on the year, but, I'm sure you're familiar with this barn and you're familiar with this name. It's a very prolific, high-percentage barn when he's active, and he's run 4 horses probably in the last 6 or 8 racing days, and everything he sent out has been very live. 2 for 4 at the meet. Geoscience got the tightener out of the way on May 20th, and now this is an angle that worked last week as well for the barn. Second off the elongated layoff, I would think we get the best of what Geoscience can deliver today, and if that's the case, he's a big problem for the rest of these, because you see those races 2 and 3 back right here at Gulfstream before he went to the sidelines. Big efforts, and honestly, those are efforts that are going to win this race. So we'll see what we get today. I would think you get a much tighter version of Geoscience. Down inside the 2, Eternal Rest. He's a little bit of an unknown in here because he's been routing on the turf and on the Tapeta. Now he's going to go all the way back to 5.5 on the dirt. I know he's been showing speed in those spots. I worry if he gets run off his feet a little bit, because I kind of feel like this is going to be a rude awakening for him. It's going to be a little sharp for him off those routes, those slower-paced routes. So we'll see what we get. Certainly his best race puts him in the mix. He does drop precipitously in class. His form might be going a little bit the wrong way in here, so I used him underneath. Awesome Pudding as well is going to show some speed. I know we'll know where he is early. I'm not so sure where he's going to be late, but Lord Darnley on top for me. So 4 down on the 10-race card. That means when we come back after the break, take a look at Ron's Rainbow Six. Welcome back to Gulfstream today. Brian Natta with you on a Twilight 10-race Friday card. Again, 255 is going to be our Friday post going forward, and we had 4 down. That means we've got 6 to go. That means it's Rainbow 6 time. We paid it out on Sunday, over $3 million, well over $3 million in new money was bet, 62 to the winner, so that means we start fresh today, $50,000 in that gross jackpot guarantee. Ronnie put a ticket together. We'll take a look at it now. There's the playbook, 43-20 for Ron. I agree with him wholeheartedly here. 25 for me as well. In the 5th, in race 6, he goes 3 deep. He's got my top pick in there. My long shot play of the day, Cozy Cafe, 3 deep as well in the 7th. That's a deep spread race for me. I thought that was a very, very problematic race to kick off the late pick 4. He's got 3, 6, 8. 1, 2 in the 8th. I do like the distractor down inside off that big win for Safi last time. 38 in race 9, and I do have the 3. Rachel's Rock. I think caught us all by maybe surprise or by storm in her return last time for Ralph Nix. She is an exciting prospect for Jacks or better. And then 3 deep for Ronnie. I know his long shot is in there. Maybe it's his best bet, I should say. And my best bet is actually in the 10th as well. Double Warrior, who he did not use. We'll see what we get if we get any value there. He's got 3 deep. 1, 2, 3 all down inside. So there it is. The playbook, the standard, 43-20 in the Rainbow. And I'm with him in the opening leg. Certainly Campiador and Star Weaver are the 2 in here. And Ronnie pulled this replay up as well when they did battle last time. And, you know, they ran 2nd and 3rd respectively. And here they are here, the 6 and the 9. Nice job, Bob. Thank you. And, you know, Malra's just streaking on the Tapeta. Absolutely loves this surface. And they just couldn't reel him in. He is so good on this surface. He's been in raging form. So it's no disgrace not to run him down. But I thought they both ran very, very well. Star Weaver getting the best of Campiador. I reversed them. I put Campiador on top, maybe in part because he's going to be a little better price. And Liz Dobos, we'll take a look at a stat for her as well. She does such a good job off the claim. And first off the claim in sprints the past couple years, 6 for 18. So I think that's a big move for the barn in sprints. And this is a barn that just knows how to get them going. Imaginary Stables here. They teamed up for a win last, I believe it was Sunday, actually, in that Rainbow 6 at 8-1 at a little bit of a price. And I think on the barn switch to Elizabeth Dobles, I think Campiador might be able to bridge the gap. Now, Jose D'Angelo went back and reclaimed Star Weaver, and he had him, and he did good work with him. He won with him, and he was a really good second last time. He was 9-10 that day. He was odds on, and certainly he's the one to beat. But the reason I put Campiador on top is I think this is a horse that can move forward in the new barn, and he's going to be a better price. How much better, I don't know. Both of these horses have the look of something to 5 in here, maybe 2-1, maybe 9-5 kind of feel to them. I'd like to think if you're getting involved in the Rainbow, these are the 2, and I think you can get by with them. Frenchman Street is so cool. 7 years old. He just runs every time. He was close enough to Star Weaver and Campiador that just maybe he can make a dent to him this time. He goes off the claim for Victor Barboza. That's a big move. We know how good that is. Maybe he can bridge the gap. Victor and Jaramillo team up here, 23% together. He just loves running. It's so cool to root for him. And then number 9, No Nay maybe was in the mix last time as well, behind Morrow, and was 3rd to Star Weaver in a different race. So he's got the form to be a player as well. But like I said, I think clearly the race goes through Star Weaver and Campiador. Late pick 5 time in the 6th. And this is another good one. Starter optional claimers here. The tag is 16. We're 6.5 on the main track. These are fillies and mares 4 and up. We'll take a look at my late pick 5 ticket. $48 here. 38 in order. My long shot is Cozy Cafe. We'll lose some value there with Traverse coming out. The deep spread is in race 7, and I mentioned that already. It's a problem race for me. I think it's the race where you look for value. Exacting is on top for me. 41 in race 8. Gangley on top of the distractor. A couple scratches in that field of Granger County and Ensign Parker. Another spread in the 9th. I went with Kayako on top for Carlos David. Certainly Rachel's Rock is going to be tough. She was actually entered tomorrow in the stakes. She's going to run here instead. And then I mentioned my best bet of the day in race 10, Double Warrior. I don't think we're getting anywhere close to that 8-1, so I want to get some value by singling that one. Is a little bit unknown and maybe does get overlooked off the Tampa races, but those are special weights. I think the drop plays my best bet of the day. Back to the 6, my long shot of the day, and we're not going to get 8-1 on Cozy Cafe because we lose 22 points on Pete's morning line of Trevesse, so everybody's going to be down a little bit because Trevesse was certainly a major player in here. I had her in third, but back to Cozy Cafe again. As I mentioned, my long shot play of the day in here, and Kent Sweezy 6% off the claim. It's not really his angle, admittedly so. It's not really his angle, but I think there's reason to think Cozy Cafe jumps up here, has won 3 in a row, first and foremost. And I love the fact that a good horseman claims this one, a 5-year-old daughter of Mineshaft, claims her for $6,250. What's he do? He runs her back in a spot where she can't get claimed. That's a confident move that says he likes her. 7 for 12 in the exacta on the main track. And I think there's a speed in here. And I like the foundation she's got coming out of the 7 and 8 furlongs races. Junior can put her in the right spot in here. And I like that foundation cutting back. 6.5 is a tricky distance. So I put her on top. Race day speed, certainly the one to beat, I think. We'll take a look at a replay here as well that Ronnie pulled up on race day speed. I thought it was a solid effort for sure. Spirit Wind is an absolute freak, okay? I think we'll probably see her in the Win and You're In Princess Rooney. Race day speed, down inside, breaks dead last. Right away, we've got a problem. In Spirit Wind, absolutely sizzled in the musical Romance this day. She was so good. But here's race day speed. You know what? She didn't pack it in. She didn't give it up. Here she is threading through a little bit. I thought this was a pretty darn good effort, all things being equal. Even gets tightened up here a little bit late, but you know what? She perseveres. She gets second. Now we go inside to outside. I think that's a big deal too. Nobody, and I mean nobody, was reeling in Spirit Wind. She's showing a new dimension that day as well, stalking. But now we're outside. I think we'll be on a little bit better behavior at the gate, and certainly race day speed, a big player. I scratch into Demo Wonder for Rohan. The barn has been in such good form for an extended period of time. I don't know. Demo Wonder was all out. I know she flew early and pressed a hot pace, but boy, she was tiring badly last time, and she was saved by the wire. Tread lightly with her. I'm just wondering if maybe she's falling off form a little bit. Certainly Vidiemi, who was my best bet of the day last time, I'm not going to completely ignore, but she needs to step up in here as well. That kicks off the late pick 5. As I mentioned several times, the 7th is a problem. I think it's a spread race. To me, I went 6 deep in my late pick 5. It's a maiden claimer. We're on the Tapeta. These are 3-year-olds. The tag is 35. 2 turns, 1.70 miles. Listen, the dart landed on Exacting for Owen Hardy, comes in from Tampa in a race that was washed off the turf. I thought he woke up second time out. First time Lasix, first time routing. They kind of threw a lot at him. It was off a layoff as well. Now we get to the Tapeta, big Godolphin homebred pedigree here. Obviously, this is a gelding, hasn't exactly worked out into that pedigree, but I think Exacting should be a square price. Kevin Krieger hasn't ridden a lot here at the Royal Palm Meat Boy, but he's done a very under the radar, good kind of job. Exacting on top. Our Admiral is definitely, if not loose, is going to be part of the pace for Joe Cantonese, who's had a good meet as well. We took the hood off last time. Seemed to settle a little bit better on the lead, so I think that's good. And listen, it's a deep competitive race. Being close to the leader up front is never a bad thing. Sir Samuel is dropping in class. He's in the mix. Certainly Dakota Boy is in the mix with a trip last time as well. Boy, contention runs deep here. I'll spread as deep as I can in my late pick 5 and go with that one there. In race number 8, late pick 4 time here as well. In race 8, late pick 3 time. Last time for a pick 3. These are state bred optional claimers, 3-year-olds and up at 5.5. So we're a pretty snappy 5.5 here. I like Gangley. I thought he ran well last time to win. Now he goes off to claim for Gilberto Zerpa. He hits a good spot in here as well. I mentioned it earlier, the barn 28% off the claim. I thought he ran very well last time, winning for Jose Garofalo. Now we're up in class a little bit, but this is a nice spot for him. He was claimed for 16. Yeah, he's in for 20, but we've got a big purse here, and I think he's in the right spot because I think there's some question marks on the favorites in here. Certainly down inside the distractor was so good winning last time for Safi. He's going to stretch out, and now he's not in for a tag again. I think that's a positive. If he runs that race back, he's going to be tough. But now he's down on the inside a little bit. Maybe he comes back off such a big effort. Listen, he's been in good form, but that race last time really took it to another level. I just wonder if he regresses, maybe bounces a little bit. So I put him underneath. Matty Stream is a little bit of a wild card. He hasn't been out since November, but boy, he showed some really good form for Mauricio Fuentes. Chantel gets aboard. It's a nice mount here. We're drawn well outside. I don't know if the layoff stubs him up a little bit, but boy, his 3 races were really sharp. Ronnie's best bet is the 2, Vivier Bien, who, I don't know, boy, he didn't run an inch last time at 2-5. I didn't see an excuse. If he gets back to the maiden claiming win, off the private purchase for Safi, yeah, he's heck to pay in here. I have no idea what to make of him, quite honestly. He just didn't run last time. He didn't break. He never showed anything. It was odd. I don't know what to make. Tread very lightly with him. We'll see if the money shows as well, because if he's up there 5-6-1, I'd be very scared. Late double time in the 9th, and I mentioned Rachel's Rock, and the race, I think the race starts with her. It's an optional claimer. 3-year-old fillies going a mile. Let's bring up her replay of her return, an absolutely devastating return last time, and she just runs off the screen. A really exciting horse for Ralph Nix and Jacks Are Better here. And there's really not a lot going on here other than an absolute dominant tour de force. This was also her first start in August when Ralph ran her in a stakes race first out behind a freak on Fox who absolutely blew the doors off him that day. Well, boy, she comes back blazing last time. Yes, she steps up. Yes, she faces winners. And she stretches out to a mile, too. But to me, the sky's the limit for her. It'll be interesting what we see, but she was so good. And they bet her last time, too, and I think that's significant. It's kind of like, we know what we have here. I would assume they bet her again today. To me, I would think she goes off favored in here. It's a tougher group. I did put Keiko on top, the 6, at a price for Carlos David. Winky is really good for Jorge Delgado and Chantel. They teamed up to win a few with her, and she's all right. And I thought Keiko was pace compromised last time. Still ran pretty well to close to be 3rd. We're going to stretch out to the mile today. I think that's beneficial too. And, they probably have to catch Rachel's Rock. Maybe, just maybe, she comes unglued a little bit going this longer trip today. And maybe that puts the 6 Keiko on top at what should be a square price. Certainly Ha Penny and Peachy Weechy are in the mix. Jose D'Angelo back with Peachy Weechy and Ha Penny. Joe Orsino, we've got to mention it, and we need to mention it. He is having such a good Royal Palm meet. He's got Iman in the stakes tomorrow, my best bet of the day. I like him in there in the barn. Everything he sends out has been very live, including Ha Penny, who did look good winning at the level last time. The finale, the 10th. We're back on the Tapeta to wrap it up. It's a $25,000 maiden claimer. These are 3-year-olds and up. We go a snappy 5 furlongs. I know Ronnie's got Eternal Flame. I moved him up to 2nd with the scratch of the 6, the Beast. Let's take a look at that replay last time, because he did run well while he was, he was 3 wide. The winner was a 3-wide dueling, and here he is sweeping, trying to sweep, and he runs well to be 2nd. I thought it was a solid effort. Now, the race didn't break any stopwatches. I readily admit that, but it was a strong effort. And, I think we're still sort of trying to figure out this Tapeta figure-wise. So maybe, the slow figures aren't that big of a deal. I thought he did run well, and I moved him up to 2nd. But Double Warrior is my best bet of the day. Now we'll see what we get price-wise. The Beast is out. Venezuelan Dreamers is out as well. The 6 and the 8. He's just coming out of better races. I know they were at Tampa, and I readily admit the Tampa shippers, now that they're in the big leagues, have struggled. There's no doubt about that. But he comes out of a trio of special weights at Tampa. They were pretty good races for the level. The other thing I like about Double Warrior is that he's run well on turf. So, yes, he's an unknown on the Tapeta, but but he's got a really, really good turf race, and that was far and away his best effort, at least on figures. 63 buyer that day to be second. I thought it was a good effort. Like I said, he's going to be involved throughout here. My best bet of the day to get it done in the finale. I singled him in my late 5 because, you know what, if he does get bet hard, you get some built-in value doing that by singling at the end. You know, honestly, it's another race too where if you don't single, well, you might have to go 5 or 6 deep because it's a tough one. I went that way. I mentioned we showed the replay of Eternal Flame. Certainly he ran well. Safi's got a couple firsters. The 1 Wears Hunter, the 10 Baker Block, inside, outside for him. The Barn, if you're going to try to beat him, typically you'll try to do it on debut. Neophyte gets a lot going on. First time gelding, first time Lasix as well. Off the layoff, maybe he wakes up. Ronnie Spats is bound to get going. He's going to run Freedom Matters in the stakes tomorrow. Boys, she is good. So that's it. 10 down on the Friday card. 255 is first post. But before we leave you, like we always do, take a look at the lightning round. We've got the standings up first. And, you know, nothing really new to report. Just top connections kind of keep on keeping on. Miguel Vasquez doing his thing. I did mention Junior's back now, and he's going to move up that trainer's standings. I believe Miguel was 7 ahead of Amiciel last week, and now he's 8. He's inched it out a little more. The podium's going to get crowded because Junior's coming. Edwin Gonzalez. Leonel Reyes, we've got to mention him. He's quietly had a very, very nice Royal Palm meet. Trainer's side, Safi just keeping on doing his thing as well. 26, so he's up the ante a little bit over Rohan, who I believe was 6 behind last week. I mentioned Joe Orsino. Good to see Joe on the podium right now with Mark Cassie, and certainly Victor Barboza is going to win his share as well. And we want to mention, I've mentioned it a few times already, but we're now shifting to the 3-day race week, and for the foreseeable future, we're going to be with you on Fridays at 2:55, the Twilight card, 12 on Saturday, 12 on a Father's Day Sunday, 12:30 is the first post on both of those days. Tomorrow is a really, really nice 12 race card, a couple stakes as well. We mentioned the best bets already. I'll just reiterate it here. For me, it was in the finale with Double Warrior on top for me in race 10, the 4 Double Warrior. My best bet. Ronnie counters with, I might have messed this up a little bit. That's right. He's got Vive Bien in the 8th. For him at 3-1. And then the long shot, I believe his long shot scratched out. My long shot, I mentioned Cozy Cafe. We're not going to get 8-1 because of the scratch of Traves in that spot. Like I said, we lose 22 points on Pete's morning line. I'll take 5, though. Give me 5-1. I think that's square. And then this one's pretty cool, and the boss pulled this up, and we wanted to show it. This is a wild man versus horse. It was in London. Kind of try to keep things interesting a little bit, where you see this here, and 22.5 miles, human and horses in competition, and the man did beat the horse, 22.5 miles. It's kind of making me tired just thinking about it, but Google it. It's a pretty cool thing, kind of a historic thing over there in Europe as well. They get together and do it every June, and it was last week. 22.5 miles, so the humans going at it with the horses. Obviously, you see the riders on the horses there. So I had never seen it, quite an interesting competition over there. It's got some pretty storied history as well. So check that out give it a Google. It's pretty neat, and kind of get up to speed on that. So there we go with Gulfstream today. We'll turn it over to track announcer Pete Aiello. I'll be back with you. 2:55 is the first post on a Twilight Friday.
The Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance is really the vehicle for the transition for our racehorses coming off the track into a second career and safe environment for these horses when they're done racing. I've been passionate about racehorses my whole life, animals in general, and without the TAA to provide that oversight, there would be a big void in terms of making sure that we have this ongoing safe environment for our off-the-track racehorses. I'm excited about the undertaking and excited about working with our board and our team at the TAA to continue the wonderful progress that has been made. So I'm very excited about what the future holds.